Slipping through the dial, hadn't watched the news in a while. Turn on CNN, ain't see none of my friends. Swag gave me the blues, they never walked in my shoes. They want us living in fear, it ain't what I'm trying to hear. Switched it over to Fox, kept clicking, I barely stopped. New guest on NBC, no one that represent me. So I got tired of waiting, sit master debate. Give me some headlines, it must be past bedtime. Sleeping on me still like I ain't vitamin D for real. Rep your city, play devil's advocate. Wayne Brady gon' have to slack a bit. Tell me something good, a recipe for success. Give me some timeline, chop session and flight deck. Hey, P, what's next?
Get so hot you can't contact. Said that, man, all that. Old school player, what you call that?
If you think you want it now.
Bobby Wall mad. Slick player, Lou Dog that. You got a good girl, you got a good girl. That is till I come through with the pipe and change up a whole world. Different world, Dwayne Wayne. South Beach, Dwayne Wade. Spanish bitch, tricking all that. How I keep my bills paid, y'all niggas.
Man, I'm out here single, living happily. And got probably 2 or 3 bitches mad at me. But that's life. They're right here. It's some we at Gimme Some Headlines crafted for y'all that we've been slow marinating over about 2 years. You know what I'm saying? We sitting on so much motherfucking music, it's ridiculous. But it's about 19 weeks to Valentine's Day. And we at Gimme Some Headlines and playing something very special for y'all. The Baecation countdown to Valentine's Day. We're gonna carry y'all right through cuffing season with some sultry tunes over some R&B ballads, the most smooth jacking for beats you ever heard in your life. I'm talking about bars that they don't paint a picture, they articulate a movie, a film to you. So as y'all take this journey with us, I could be El Capitan, I could be El Jefe, I could be the nigga driving that bitch straight off of the spreadway, but whatever I'ma do, you already know I'ma be with my crew, man, my ride or die, my game, my partner in this shit, man. My nigga P, you gotta come in there, bitch, before I even shoot out one clip. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, no, he did. Yes, he did. In the goddamn goblet.
P. Henry Trotter the Fourth, a.k.a. P. Henry Trotter the Fourth. Yeah, I said it twice. Made it more nice. A.k.a. Casino P, a.k.a. Mock Tube, a.k.a. Quinn with the pen and with the lens, a.k.a. P in HD, a.k.a. This is an expensive ass whiskey I'm drinking. I didn't buy it. What it do, man? We in this thing. Episode 25, season 1. Give me some headlines. You ain't hit me with the big tabby though. I was waiting on the big tabby.
You already know it. This your dog Tabula Rasa, aka Big Tabby. Always hit my partner with the nickname, cause you know what it is. And it COVID, so nigga, please don't even try to dap me. And my nigga P forgot one of them nicknames. It's right after PhD. Damn. You get it. And we ain't talking about the point. This right here, episode 25, season 1. And it's a Spike P joint. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. A lot of good news happening in the world. Amongst all the things that we want to be negative about, man, some good things is definitely taking place, man.
Hey, fuck the world like Eminem, cuz. Fuck the world like Eminem, cuz. I don't want to bury the lead. You got that bit queued up. Let's drop it to the lyric video, cuz. Count them down and I'ma sound that bitch off. I'm geek and I'm fired up.
We pressing play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Turn it. On Baecation, got that weed burning. Burn it. I say turn it. Nigga making all the same mistake. Lessons I ain't learning.
Round my way, they call me C.O.D. My mama said that I've been swagging since the age of 3. And she ain't never lied, she ain't never lied. Still convinced I love you better in another life. Hey, they call me private party C.O.D. The only love that I let in, inspired by the leaf tree. And I'm still high, I ain't never lied. But I'm 5 years sober, one day at a time. Hey, now I'm just drowning in purple. Did my 12 steps in a circle. Still feel like I ain't deserve you. I hurt you, shit. But now it's time to move on. I hit the booth and I'm on. I smoke a blunt that's strong. I'm gone. So many fish in the sea, but the whole catch and release. I ain't found nothing out with Keith. I creep through the back streets of Decatur. On the low getting paper, bitches, just your friendly neighbor. The mass crusade, y'all can put in the Seder. The fast come before the feast. Beauty can stomach the beast. Castle and keep her from Lee. Hold up, change the subject. I need to arrange the budget. I need to cop it and flood it. Smash her, she say she love me, but to me we just fucking. I can't find no balance, focusing on my talents. I need to harness the chi. I need to balance my chakras. I need to spend more time ring bumping Tupac and Big Papa. Hold up. Hey, they call me private party C.O.D. The only love that I let in, inspired by the tree leaf. And I'm still high, I ain't never lied. But I'm 7 months sober, one day at a time. Hey, around my way they call me C.O.D. My mama said that I've been swagging since the age of 3. She ain't never lied, she ain't never lied. Still convinced I love you better in another life. Ay, life after death, fuck death, Illuminati. Worshipped at the altar and I felt my soul leaving my body. Another plane of existence, stack on some shrooms, get missing. Lil' tab of that LSD vacation could've been named HOTC3. Confessions, smoking sessions, nigga pouring up elixirs. Distort the picture, Photoshop made her thicker. But grinding made me that nigga. Bitch flowing made me the river. Drop wet in these models, Twitter. Big brothers race them a killer. Hey, keep your hand clean so you can do your dirt. Gonna pop that pussy for me, baby. Gonna make it work. Try to make it work. Now I come out my shirt and the whole new they mine. Gonna drop that one more time. They call me private party C.O.D. Only love that I let in, inspired by the tree. Inspired by that, and I'm still high. I ain't never lied. But I'm 8 years sober, one day at a time. Hey, round my way they call me C.O.D. My mama said that I've been swagging since the age of 3. And you know,
and she ain't never lied. Still convinced I love you better in another life.
Hey,
they call me private party. I'm here to get it started. Fuck being broken hearted.
And the church say,
one more again, choir.
They
call me C.O.D.
My mama said
that I've been swagging since the age of 3.
And you know,
and she ain't never lied. Still convinced I love you better in another life.
Hey,
they call me private party. I'm here to get it started. Fuck being broken hearted. Yeah, man. That's y'all first taste of Baecation. That first song, SLS remix. Your boy C.O.D. Decatur Boy Music featuring your man's P. Henry Trotter the Fourth, man. So that's the, I guess we can't call it the title track, but it is the thesis
intro
of the project. Yeah, it's the intro of the project. So
shouts out to Party Next Door, boy. My obsession with SLS is what inspired that remix. I had to jump on that bitch when we created the concept for the tape. One of the first instrumentals I want to track down was that SLS. I had to do it.
And so that was the question that I was going to ask you. What caused your obsession with that song? And like, why was that the one that you thought, man, I gotta hop on this one?
It's multifaceted, man. It's a few songs that I'm addicted to, and they have parts of the song where the instrumental ride out. So every time I listen to it, I freestyle a different version of something I enjoy to this song. So I had probably 60 versions of SLS that I enjoyed before I ever wrote something for SLS, because I'd rap different stuff that I enjoyed whenever I listened to it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The boy Sam Hunt got a song called Breaking Up Was Easy in the 90s. It's a country song, and I when I say I love that motherfucker, I love it. It's about a 12-bar loop after the bridge that lead into the final hook. And when I say I tie that motherfucker up, bro, I'm finna chop that shit and do something crazy with that for the listeners. But Breaking Up Was Easy in the 90s, Sam Hunt, another song like that I'm just addicted to. But yeah. So that's why SLS had to get bodied, bro. I knew that I had some cadences and some flows for it to where I could rap for 4 minutes. When the beat started, I was like, I'm going to rap until I can't no more. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Period. Yeah. And I was confident that I could carry that shit and not be hurting to make sure it flowed and changed and developed into different things. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. So my next question is, what inspired the bars?
Oh, man. Well, whenever I write in anything I do, even if it's some trap shit, like as a Libra, I seek balance. So in my writing, I create duality. You feel what I'm saying? So in the bars where I speak about addiction, I am referencing both past loves as well as different substances that may have been a part of my maturation process at the time. You feel what I'm saying? So when I say, the only love that I let in, inspired by the tree leaf, and I'm still high, I ain't never lied. I'm talking about, as far as drugs and stuff, you ain't gonna catch me doing none of the designer shit. I'm good on that shit. You know what I'm saying? The only love that I let in, inspired by the tree, the leaf, and I'm still high, I ain't never lied. And then if you take that and flip it, it also has dual meaning in other means as well. And the similar commitment to the metaphorical context of still being high. Certain people and certain loves I experienced were impactful enough to where one of the harshest things I ever cultivated as a skill, as a human being, was learning how to let go of love. And I feel like it hardened me as a person. And I learned it very young. The first person I ever genuinely just stopped loving was my father. And I had to learn how to do that at a very young age so that compounding trauma wasn't created. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with certain people who impacted me in my life and who I feel like I genuinely wouldn't be alive without them, I refused to use that part of me because I didn't want to harden the part of me that I feel like make me special that I wouldn't have without them. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I talk about that addiction and still being high, the part of me that is special, the part of me that I got from the promise that I made to my grandma, never letting anybody make me worse, and the other side of that commitment being to let the people who I truly love and care about make me better. The human being that I wouldn't be without you, I'm not letting go of that part of me. So I'm not letting go of the love that I have for you either. I'm still high. I ain't never lied. You feel what I'm saying? I made that promise to my grandma. I ain't never lied. So certain love, I feel like I can't let go because I'll let go of the part of me that's special because I had that love. You feel what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So the bar is like, and then, you know what I'm saying? I jump into, I go back and forth between saying some shit that's real like that and then talking my shit. You feel what I'm saying? So I jump right after saying some shit like that to saying, I hit the booth and I'm on. I smoke a blunt of that strong. I'm gone. Because even though I'll never let go of that, I can choose health and whatever that look like for me. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't feel like holding on to the love. I mean, I got to hold on to something that ain't healthy for me. And I jumped right from that to saying, I'm free, you know what I'm saying? I'm free than a motherfucker. And there's so many fish in the sea, but the whole catch and release, I ain't found nothing I would keep. You feel what I'm saying? Yom Kippur. Bruh. Bruh, let me get the ball. I ain't found nothing I would keep. I creep. Shouts out to TLC. Ooh, I through the streets of Decatur on the low getting paper. Bitch, it's your friendly neighbor. You know the whole money over bitch thing. The mass crusader. Yom Kippur in the Seder. Shouts out to my Jewish brethren. Yom Kippur, to simplify it, is a fast. Seder is a feast to celebrate the end of the fast. Yom Kippur in the Seder, the fast come before the feast. Beauty couldn't stomach the beast. Castle wouldn't keep her from leave. Like, after you've been starved of love or anything, once you experience it, in order to satiate that hunger, it create a beast in a lot of ways. You feel what I'm saying? You've never seen a motherfucker eat like a motherfucker who's starving. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So that line that come right after that, beauty couldn't stomach the beast. Like, no one could have satiated that hunger because it was an unreal thirst. But hindsight is 2020, not my vision. You feel what I'm saying? But a castle wouldn't keep her from leave. No matter how much shit we built, no matter how cool of a lifestyle we built together, the emotional level of it wasn't healthy. You feel, a castle wouldn't have kept her from leaving. Then that's why I immediately say, hold up, I need to change the subject. I need to raise the budget. I need to confident flooded. Smash her. She say she love me, but to me, we just fucking. Every time I say some real shit, I jump back to saying some crazy shit so that you don't start thinking too hard about what I'm saying. Because if you do, you're going to be like, oh, no, I want to listen to Baecation. So I say some real shit, and then I be like, here goes some bars, y'all. Here goes some bars. You feel me? So how you feel about that? You feel what I'm saying? Give them some medicine, and then give them some bars. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's an artistic way of compiling a song. It's understanding where you are in the song, and it's understanding what people came for. It's the personal amount of the song, which people are already interested in, but then it's also okay, I know why y'all really here though. You know what I mean? So let me give you why you're really here, and let's talk about something else. You change the subject yourself. Like you said, like, I need to change the subject. Like,
and I give that cue with the hold up every time I do it. I don't know if you heard that audibly because I didn't write it in the lyric video, but I'm putting that Easter egg out there for anybody who consumed the show. Like, it's I love Easter eggs. I love foreshadowing. I love that Lord Voldemort is an anagram for Tom Riddle and all that shit. Like, things like that bring me a ridiculous amount of joy. Like, have you seen Interstellar?
I have, but I don't remember it much.
Damn. I'm trying to reference something you would know. But one of the dope ass things about that is on Miller's Planet, like, time passes differently. Do you remember that element of the movie?
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember that element.
When they're on that planet, if you're listening to the sound mix of the movie and paying attention, it's a part of the ambient level of noise, but there's a tick that you hear. They tell you about time passing differently and how being there 20 years will pass in the time that da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But the actual mechanism of that is it happens every like 1.27 or 1.3 seconds. And that's a day passing on Earth. And when you go back and experience the movie and feel that, everything is deafening. When that wave comes, and everything starts to happen, they lose months trying to survive that shit. You feel what I'm saying? And one of them die. They lose months in that time. And like little shit like that, I love to do in the music. So anytime I feel like I'm getting too emotional or I'm talking too real, I say, hold up. And then I just switch that shit up. But I threw that bitch in the ad libs. You feel what I'm saying? And you was in the record session. So, but I'm like, he not going to notice that shit either or know why I did that the way I did. I did them whole ups as a different recording layer after I did the rest of the ad libs.
Yeah. It's like a girl.
And they all different.
We're not doing that here.
It's subtle stuff. Like, I feel like it's a lot of Easter eggs in music that people don't notice. Like, when I Love McConan came out as a part of the LGBTQ spectrum, it didn't surprise me. Because he was getting popping in the A and shit. And the song that he hit with was I Got the Club Going Up on a Tuesday. Do y'all know what night that is in Atlanta? Do y'all know what Tuesday night is in Atlanta? Anybody? So if he had the club going up on a Tuesday, I already knew what it was. While y'all was out there dancing, y'all ain't know what y'all was celebrating, but I knew what it was. You wasn't aware of that, was you? I could tell by your face.
Nah, I didn't. I mean,
man.
I've heard it from you. I've heard it from you, but
it's Easter. Just like R. Kelly being the Pied Piper of R&B. After the first case, the nigga switched his nickname to a person who could get anybody to do whatever he wanted to with music. And y'all was surprised when there were more problems. The story of the Pied Piper, he was hired to get all of the rats out of the town and agreed upon a deal with the townspeople. He come into the town, plays his music, gets all of the rats to leave the town. When he come back, they don't want to pay him. So he plays a tune and steals all of their children. That is the story of the Pied Piper. And that nigga told you he was the Pied Piper of R&B after the first tape. It's Easter eggs all out in music, man. It's motherfuckers hiding in plain sight. And when people surprised and shocked and go crazy later, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck y'all was on. But as far as my music go, ain't none of that bullshit in my music. The Easter eggs in my music are all artistic. You feel what I'm saying? Like the shit about aliens and the Mona Lisa and shit like that. You feel what I'm talking about?
It's aliens and the Mona Lisa?
It's a nigga standing in the background looking up. And if you follow his eye line, it's a UFO. The sun rays that come down in the Mona Lisa don't come toward the foreground or toward the focal point of the painting. They go toward the UFO as if it was like beaming something up. It's all kind of shit like that. Like it's a portrait of it's certain portraits where if you you gotta like put it in a computer and put it next to itself and it'll make an alien's face. Like the standard ET gray that you see represented. That was supposedly abducting niggas all in the 90s and shit.
Interesting. I didn't know that shit either.
And I'm talking about shit from like the Renaissance period, bruh. Da Vinci and them. Like it's all, I'm gonna talk to you about it. We're gonna have an episode about it. I'm gonna make that a conspiracy, brother. I'm glad that I sparked your curiosity. You feel what I'm saying? Now, one of my favorite parts of this song, SLS Remix, is the outro. You know that this shit 100% real, no bullshit, no cap. That shit was 100% organic, and it was from you singing this shit, but changing the lyrics slightly. And I started talking to you about the round robin effect and doing that shit like a choir. How tough was it for you to become a choir with me yelling at you because I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit? Are you like, how surprised were you at how good that shit sound? How proud, like I'm proud of how that shit sound. I love that shit, bro. I feel like I got that shit out of you, bro. I feel like that shit jamming. Where your head at, bro?
Yeah. I enjoy doing it. It's somebody who I'm not classically trained in keys and like the range and stuff. So it's all done by ear. And so to have it be requested and then have to turn it around in such a tiny space. When you don't know keys, like when you don't know
the lyrics.
Change. Yeah. It's a challenge. They pulled you out of your comfort zone, obviously. But it was rewarding, like, to hear the final product. Yeah. It's but I guess that's what this shit is like I'm not doing it for me, but in doing it for the people who gonna hear it, you grow yourself as an artist when you have to challenge yourself and just to step out of these boxes that you used to being in. Because I just, usually I'm just rapping or I'm singing some shit that's familiar to me. So it's an easier process. But like when you're doing something where you got to come up with 3 different voices or 3 different keys of voice and try to make them mesh together and then make the voices mesh well, but then mesh it also with the song. Like that shit is.
And have me scream at your face. Stop trying to sing it on time with the other shit. A choir is not perfectly in sync. You are not stacking a verse. And you was like, the fuck do that even mean? I don't know if you remember that, but I remember like trying to get you, because I refused to mute the other takes because you had to sing it in a different key. You feel what I'm saying? But I was like, stop singing this shit perfectly in line with yourself. And he was like, I don't know how to sing this shit off beat. I said, don't sing it off beat now. And then that's why the second tilt of it go past it, because you was just like, fuck it, just keep running it, and I'm gonna do it until it feel good. And the first one that feel good, we gonna keep that and then build around that motherfucker. I said, I like where your head's at, nigga. We went and got some more motherfucking watermelon. Tell me, we went and got some more watermelon. Yeah, juice that shit, nigga. I'm telling you, Baecation fueled by watermelon, kids. Straight sweet Alabama side of the road country motherfucker with a whole bushel. I'm talking about real watermelon. No salt on it, none of that country shit, you niggas. Who be putting salt on that watermelon, cuz?
A lot of motherfuckers from the country.
But them Cincinnati niggas?
Yeah.
Them natty niggas be wildin' with their
sugar on their grits. That ain't okay.
Ugh. We gonna fight you niggas. But yeah, man. We go keep it moving along, man. But on the Gimme Some Headlines IG, we'll put that link in the show notes. He hate when I do that. He be like, what that shit you said I'm gonna put in the show notes? Cause now I gotta keep that promise. I write it down. But we gonna be previewing next week's track, which is Baecation is a compilation project from you know what I'm saying, 3WC, me and my nigga P. But there are a few, I guess, solo tracks. Some tracks, my bruh do the whole track and all I do are the ad-libs. We gonna give y'all a bunch of different vibes and a bunch of different cold ass shit. This countdown to Valentine's Day is going to be a journey, you feel me? And we started off with SLS Remix, where we foreshadow a lot of the different themes on the tape and how I talk about some real shit, and then I dive out of it to run away for a little while. We gonna do that with the soundscape of the project and take you whoa down the roller coaster, you Tokyo drift your ass all the way goddamn out to Japan, man. But next week, get your motherfucking cameras ready. I'm talking about your iPhone 12s with 10 cameras on it, all them fat ass lenses, your Pro Maxes, get your Androids ready, get your DSLRs, get all that shit ready, man. Cause we gonna keep it Toronto. We gonna keep it OVO for the first 2 remixes, man. I went and mangled one of Party Next Door's Timeless Classics, and my dog P HTIV, PhD. He gonna apply his expertise to one of the smoothest motherfucking tracks off of arguably one of Drake's most iconic albums, Take Care. P, what you got for him next week, man?
Yeah, man. I remixed one of the songs that was important to me during a former relationship.
Tease it now, tease it. Don't give him the whole cow now. Give him a little milk. Give him a little tea.
Yeah, man. It just
It's Saint in the building. It's Saint in the building.
He in the room with his mama.
Okay. That was
But yeah, man. It was inspired by it was recorded a while back, re-recorded when we did Baecation. Referencing an old flame and talking about some stuff that's very relevant to today's dating culture, man. So yeah, hope y'all enjoy it. I'm happy that we're gonna be, sharing it with y'all. Hope y'all ready for this shit, man. Y'all about to get 19 weeks of flames, bruh.
Yeah, man. We finished off that last track with a nigga who penned ridiculous on this literature, singing his ass off. And please believe he started off cameras doing the same thing. You feel what I'm saying? So get ready for some bars and some blessings on cameras next week. 10-13. Give me some headlines. You know what I mean? But shouts out to my dog Deontay out there in Arkansas, man. We shouted him out last week, and we gonna keep this nice and quick. UGA removed all Arkansas thoughts about their draws being big. How you feel? You catch any of that game, man?
Man, you had me watch that damn game. I watched the whole first half. I'm gonna give you my quick rundown of this shit. I watched the whole first half. Here we go. First quarter. UGA. Arkansas gave up an opening drive touchdown. 9 plays, 75 yards. Arkansas first possession. 2 false starts on the way to a 3-and-out. UGA's next possession. Touchdown. Arkansas's next possession. Penalty. Punt blocked in their own end zone, recovered for a touchdown.
Yeah.
They get the ball back. Started moving the ball. Quarterback was he a big dude. He was running them cats over. Not really. They got some talented backs. That drive ended up in a punt. UGA touchdown. Arkansas next drive. Missed field goal. UGA next drive. Field goal. Arkansas started on their own 33, their best field position of the game.
Yeah.
Punt. And then I stopped keeping score. I was like, man, I see where this shit going. And I knew from the first touchdown, after that punt got blocked in the end zone and recovered for a touchdown, I knew this shit was over. Arkansas, man. And we talked about it last week on the show. You asked me, is Arkansas on their way, or is they gonna be midway through the season, they just gonna be an afterthought? We ain't even make it midway to the season, they an afterthought. And I don't think that loss is
I had no idea they was playing the Dawgs the next week. I wouldn't even ask that shit if I knew they was playing us on Saturday. I'd have never did that.
I think Georgia's the best team in the nation. And Arkansas just happened to run into the best team in the nation.
Yeah, they did. They did. Pumbaa ran into a dog.
Unfortunately, yeah. Like maybe if they'd have played somebody like LSU or Auburn, and not to say those teams aren't good, but you ran into the best team in the nation, and you number 8, and you weren't ready for that. Like you needed another test besides the best team, because it's taking Georgia.
They got hit with too many things they hadn't dealt with.
Yeah, too many things.
Cause they were bopping niggas. They hadn't had anybody score in the first quarter. Georgia scored every time they touched the ball in the first quarter.
Every time they touched the ball in the first half.
And scored when y'all had the ball. So they wasn't ready to bounce back from a punch in the mouth like that, bruh.
No. And I hope they
Like,
can bounce back next
one
week.
of their players, they tweeted out, Georgia is who we thought they were. Now let's get back to work and win some football games. That nigga said, on to the next one. Bro, that nigga Deontay tweeted something like, man, I got so many things to do today, but I ain't doing none of them. And Arkansas win. And I was like, you gonna get a lot done today then, my good sir. Yeah, you talking about, you gonna get a lot of shit done today. And I ain't even respond to it once we started smacking him. I was like, he knows.
Yeah.
He gotta get shit done right now.
This game.
Every time he checks something off his to-do list, it ain't nothing I can send him that'll be better smack talk than the silence. You feel what I said? And that's on the Jack Daniels. Hey, you talking about real victory smack.
Man. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
It took Georgia a long time, to get that though. Like Kirby Smart has been, I think, this like his fifth year.
Yeah,
so
man. Appreciate that, Bama.
Yeah, for him to get there and for them to be,
he the second one of y'all disciples we done tried out. I think he working out.
Yeah. He got a job for a long time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
First time, long time. Hey, you talking about. Speaking of that, bruh, could you do me the biggest of favors?
What's that?
Give me some headlines.
Bet that I can give you some headlines. All right, man. This story comes from our good friends over at the NPR. Facebook's new whistleblower is renewing.
We do love NPR.
Yeah, we do. Facebook's new whistleblower is renewing scrutiny of the social media giant.
Ooh.
This story also comes from the NPR. 5 things to know about the MCU's first openly gay superpowered character.
What was read that one again?
5 things to know.
Who that from?
The NPR.
This one too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I didn't know they reported on shit like that.
Yeah. 5 things to know about the MCU's first openly gay superpowered character.
Damn, that's too interesting. First 2. Fuck.
This is
okay.
Gothamist. I think this got something to do with New York. Vandal splatters gray paint on George Floyd bust in Union Square. Yeah, Union Square is in New York.
Oh, fuck that story. Fuck that dude. Them first 2 fucking heaters. Fuck. You know what? I'm gonna need that second one sent to me, but that first one, that Facebook whistleblower, because people never talk about when conspiracy theorists become scientists whose hypotheses were proved correct. You know what I'm saying? Because all a conspiracy is a secret between more than one party, and a theory is a hypothesis that is unproven. Because of all of the variables, being able to create a vacuum at high speeds and things like that, there are things that disprove gravity experiments to where it is still a scientific theory. It does not exist as law and scientific fact. Even though if you jump off somehow, you are going to fall. Gravity as a theory has not been proven as an elemental force. It's still people who believe that it is not something pushing you down so much as it is a magnetic force returning you to a polarity center, which is, I don't know. But anyway, point being, that first story sounds very interesting. And people have been talking about shit that Facebook is up to for a long time. So this whistleblower and what exactly he done... They got a lot of funny names for snitch when it's them. But yeah, let's talk about this whistleblower.
Frank Lucas was a whistleblower, huh? So
6ix9ine. It's easy to come back to rap if he was a whistleblower instead of a fucking rat, right?
You're right. So the NPR reports Facebook's new whistleblower is renewing scrutiny of the social media giant. A data scientist named Frances Haugen has revealed herself to be the whistleblower behind a massive exposure of the inner workings of Facebook. Let me reread that because this is an NPR article and I have to read it in my NPR softer voice.
Yeah, I need that. Appreciate you.
A data scientist named Frances Haugen has revealed herself to be the whistleblower behind a massive exposure of the inner workings at Facebook. Prior to appearing on 60 Minutes on Sunday, Haugen, a former employee at the social media giant, kept her identity a secret after sharing thousands of pages of internal Facebook documents to the media and federal law enforcement. Haugen's planned
now I see.
Haugen's planned testimony this week, as well as the information she shared so far, suggests the company deceived the public and its investors about its ability to deal with the hate speech and misinformation on its platform. Quote, Facebook over and over again has shown it chooses profit over safety, she said, close quote, she said during the interview on Sunday. Haugen's document dump, her testimony scheduled in front of Congress this week, and an ongoing investigative reporting series into the company are potentially pushing Facebook into its biggest crisis yet. The negative spotlight also comes as Republicans and Democrats on Capitol Hill are increasingly scrutinizing Facebook's actions.
Can I tell the people something they might not know? As a nigga who done had family deal with a lot of tomfoolery and fuckery with them folk.
At Facebook?
Feds.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The layman or normal person might not know about a fucking snitch. And that's why my antenna went up when they called her a whistleblower. The reason she reported it to the feds, a lot of people don't know about these fucking snitches, is they collect a percentage of all fines and fees collected. So when a nigga snitch on a drug dealer and they go collect $10 million in goods and ill-gotten gains, that fuck nigga, not only does his time get cut, but he get out and he get a percentage of the lick that they just hit. So this bitch is finna get a percentage of the billions in fines they probably about to hit Facebook with. So you gonna see her on the Forbes list out of nowhere. So remember the name. You feel what I'm saying? She a snitch. She ain't a whistleblower. So don't let this PR campaign that she about to go on that's gonna taint the jury pool if they have to take it past arbitration and settle in this shit with Facebook. Don't let her convince you she a hero. This shit for profit. And it's countless other motherfuckers at Facebook right now who had this same questionable shit come across their desk who thinking, God damn, I missed that money play being loyal and not being a fucking snitch. So she can call herself a whistleblower. Whistleblowers reveal that Johnson & Johnson knew about cancer-causing elements in their baby powder 40 years before they ever did anything about it. That's a whistleblower. But this shit right here, that for-profit shit, that shit questionable. That shit very questionable. Because that Johnson & Johnson shit led to settlements paid out to people who were affected by that shit. Facebook gonna be cutting a check to the government and she gonna be getting a percentage. We not finna benefit from this shit. And I promise you, Facebook gonna find a way to make up the money because they got shareholders to answer to. So for her to say they were prioritizing profit over safety is only for her to say point blank period, they were not being prudent or honest in protecting the truth and all of this fact-finding shit they've been doing for the past couple of years that they have used the pandemic to justify. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A great deal of people aren't going to go read those thousands of pages of documents. No. But I've read a bunch of the highlights and I didn't know that this person was attached to it until Gimme Some Headlines. I just knew that Facebook was in some hot shit, and I went and looked at why they was in some hot shit. Kind of like I'm very familiar with Watergate, but I don't know who Deep Throat is. You feel what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I was familiar with Watergate, but didn't know that Deep Throat was out there waiting for her cut of the fines that Facebook about to get. So what are your thoughts on it as I share that perspective the audience may not know? Now with that in your consciousness, does it change your perspective on the story? And how do you feel about Facebook's involvement?
I did see today that they had, like, Facebook wasn't working, like Instagram was down, like the internet was going nuts. So like, and people without their social media is like, what am I going to do at work now? Do your fucking job. But I don't think, like,
it's all kind of bullshit going on.
Who didn't know that Facebook was doing, like, it's so many documentaries and shit about like how Facebook is just ass, and they are feeding the frenzy on both sides of the aisle. Like, they are taking like the hate speech, and like that's what people who hate speech see, and then they taking like the refugees are coming to take your job, and they throw it in front of the motherfuckers who are afraid they're gonna lose their job to refugees and immigrants and shit. Like, but it's like the internet. Like, all they doing is they intensify the internet. This is what you're gonna spend.
And then they put gun ass to both of them.
Right. Yeah. Like, they doing more of, like, when you in front of your computer camera and you talk about, oh man, I probably need some more deodorant. I'm running low. And then the next site you go to, there's an ad for deodorant. That's what Facebook does. I'm afraid of immigrants coming and snatching my children out of their beds. On Facebook, you're going to see, hey, did you hear about the young lady who was in her suburb home and immigrants came and snatched their kids out of bed? See, I was right. I'm validated. So all it does is validate. It validates your worst fears. None of the things that are good or peaceful. Like, there's profit in that, in your worry, and like your happiness doesn't bring them dollars, doesn't bring them as much attention as your worry does, because you're gonna continue to go down those rabbit holes, and you're gonna spend more of your time on Facebook, and that's what they want, is your attention, man. So like, none of this is shocking to me. Like, this young lady, like, being a whistleblower, like, I don't know, it just, she not special. Like you said, like, she not special. She in it for profit. She not in it to be a hero. She didn't grow a moral conscience overnight. Like, right.
Can I highlight something that it made me notice, bro?
What's that?
Ben Franklin said it best. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a temporary little safety deserve neither liberty nor safety, and will have neither. For Facebook to have done so many questionable things with censorship, with plastering messages over your stories and messages and anything that you post that is an opinion about something, for Facebook to decide they determine what is a fact. And this whistleblower to come out and tell you all of the actual actions they made were not to protect the truth. They were for profit. They were not for your health. They were for profit. Stop giving up your fucking liberties for safety to people who have absolutely no fucking priority towards your safety. It's your fucking responsibility, and your freedom is essential to you being able to maintain your fucking safety. That's what it make me think. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. Anytime you make those types of compromises, you gonna lose. I don't. Yeah, like what makes her any better than Facebook? Like the things that they do are for profit and for gain because they believe it's in their best interest. She didn't do this. Yeah, like you said, she didn't do this for our.
She didn't do this thinking she was going to go get a job at another company because of her integrity. She did it knowing she'd never have to work again.
Right.
Who going to hire her? Whistleblowing ass.
Because I know none of the companies you're dealing with, we can't let her out sensitive information.
And she a data scientist. How the fuck they going to hide it from her if they want to?
Right. She digging that up.
You cooking the books, you gonna hire a nigga from the SEC. Yeah.
That's her job.
Do you feel me?
I'm cheating the government on my taxes. I'm not gonna hire nobody that work for the IRS.
If your fantasy football league secretly running numbers and y'all the bookies for the whole neighborhood, don't invite a cop to come join your fantasy football league. That's all I'm saying. That's not what mine is, but or any of the ones I'm in. Let me be clear. That ain't a bet. But she was a turd in the punch bowl, and Zuckerfuck got to drink that. You feel what I'm saying? It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid gonna taste funny for a little while.
Yeah. I'm sure he's used to it.
When the world think about him the way they do, though, how far can his character fall or be assassinated? But shit, man, we'll get lost in that shit, man. To all the lost people, all the lost cases, man. To all the people getting money and all the lost wages. Sometimes you need a little escape. And here, Gimme Some Headlines, like to do a segment architected by my dog P that we call Give Me Some Pages.
Yeah.
P, talk to the people. What we talking about?
Man, so your boy been doing a lot of reading. You know, I started a new gig in mortgages and shit, and so I got to get licensed. So been doing a lot of studying. But when I take my puppy butt on this walk in the mornings, I usually cut something good on in my ears, man, some audio book. And I'll listen to the audio book, and then I'll also like come back home and I'll sit down like with the actual text and do some reading, man. So I've been reading quite a few things, man. But the two things that have stuck out to me lately, one I just finished up, and then the other one I'm currently reading, or I've already read it and I'm rereading. The first book is Outwitting the Devil, and I don't think I've mentioned it on this show before. But Outwitting the Devil is a book by the same author that wrote Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. And in this book, man, he sets it up, and it's brilliantly written. So, and the audio book is fire because of the way that he actually wrote the book. So he wrote this book, and he interviews the devil. And in this interview, he wants to know why the devil who the devil is, why the devil is so powerful, what power the devil actually has. And then in this, they refer to God in this book. They call him by the name God, or they call God God, but the devil refers to God as his opposition. And so, yeah. And so he goes through this book, like talking about all these things, like the things that set people back, the things that are the pitfalls of man and women in this world. And it's just a super interesting book. And I don't want to talk about it too much to give it away, but it talks about this one concept called drifting. And like that's where you, the person, have these purposes to fulfill in life. And the devil ensnares you by making you drift away from your purpose. And drifting is like it's one of the number one causes of like why people die and they're unfulfilled in their life and it's essentially you live a fulfilled life by working, and working is you can fill in that verb or work the noun with anything, like whatever you decide. And so in Think and Grow Rich, it's about thinking, about having a clear goal about what you want to do, and then pursuing that goal and not let anything deter you from it. And so he brings that concept into this book and talks about like how the devil can be defeated. And the devil reveals himself not to be what we always hear is this horned figure that's red with a pitchfork and stands in this lake of fire. The devil he finds himself just implanted. He's kind of like Freddy Krueger, but like Freddy Krueger, you see the manifestation in that guy with the claws that has the burnt face. But the devil, his likeness to Freddy Krueger is he's more so implanted in the mind. Freddy Krueger goes away when nobody knows or speaks of his name. So the devil goes away when you alleviate yourself from drifting. When you create systems in your life where there's no space for him to get into your mind and deter you away from your chief aim or your goals or your aspirations. And so it's just a super interesting concept. And in the audio book, the Napoleon Hill is himself, and then he takes on another voice as the devil, and it's like super eerie and like it really sounds like he's this person or this entity that we all or most people fear, but don't really understand. And he does a really good job of helping you to understand who and what the devil is, man. And so, yeah, that's like one of the books that I'm reading, and it kind of ties into another book that I'm reading. But in hearing me talk about that book, does it spark any thought about things that you learned in text and also things that you knew about the devil? Or does it challenge any thoughts that you have about like the devil?
It does in many ways, but first and foremost, it inspires a question I want you to sit with while I respond to yours, and then I'll re-ask when I'm done, and I want you to answer for me. When you finish spending time with that text, do you feel something? Or has it captivated you and it leaves you thinking about something? Now, to answer your question more directly, different texts that I read relating to the devil mostly would be the Bible. And I have a very personal relationship with the Bible because it had been my experience in most of my life until I found churches later in life after I was no longer of the Christian faith or considered myself Christian in the sense that I did in my maturation process. Just going over scripture wasn't what the mode of conversation was. You feel what I'm saying? So a lot of my relationship to the scripture was pure personal interpretation, and my relationship to the word, like, because I read it cover to cover every summer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I start a fasting and I do not consume food until I have read 50 pages, and I do not go to sleep until I have my systems. But the point is, we kind of talked in the preamble to the show about my interpretations of the devil's story. the devil's mechanisms and how he operates, and in how he is perceived by man. So most directly, to take that and put it in a microcosm, the overwhelming presence of the devil in story and film and cinema, you see an element of this promise where you get this thing you wanted, but there's always a debt that comes along with it. The bill always comes for this thing you think you got over with. And to bring it into something a little, you know what I'm saying, light and not dark at all, if you think about procrastination, you watch a little TV, you relax, maybe you take a walk, you take a hike, you do this, you do whatever it is you're doing other than the thing you're supposed to be doing in order to relax, to gain some semblance of peace. But the bill that comes is that anxiety, not being able to focus on the thing you're doing to relax, and having to rush to do the thing that you should have made priority and got out of the way anyway. You feel what I'm saying? So without having read the literature and hear the terminology drifting, procrastination kept popping up in my head as one of the things that make me exist in my lower self, because it pulls me away from focusing on the things I want to be doing because I'm avoiding something I need to be doing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I thought about the devil and how it exists from a literature standpoint and my interpretation of the text, and how you can create a hell for yourself right here on earth. And the devil is the catalyst that puts you in that hell state or existing in your lower self. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it challenges what I believe to be my control, but also creates personal responsibility that's going to be interesting as a part of my journey through introspection. And when I go back and reread that book cover to cover next year, you feel what I'm saying? It's going to change how I interpret a lot of passages. And I have several different Bibles, so I think a different one is going to get marked up with that perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like, I might have to get another one to be the untouched Helios Biblios, and then mark up one of my other joints that I already got. Every Bible I have was a gift from someone. You know what I'm saying? And they all have different meanings and I use in different ways. But that book is definitely something I think I might add to my library and digest. But to bring it full circle back to you, because hearing you talk about it made me feel a whole lot of shit before I got to that thought. When you finish a reading, when you finish spending time with that book, as you take your journey through it, most often in the aftermath, like, you know, you finish some barbecue, the itis hit you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What hits you when you finish spending time with this literature?
I feel.
Oh, so you feel. Okay.
I felt more informed, and I felt how what Facebook does to you is they throw your worst fears in front of you, so you feel validated and like that. See. It was kind of one of those moments where I'm like, I see why I feel the way I feel when I don't get something done. Because they talk about procrastination. They talk about the consumption of drugs.
You said like Facebook. He meant the devil. He wasn't trying to call Facebook the devil on thing.
I said Facebook.
You meant Facebook? I thought you was talking about the book.
Facebook. Yeah, I am talking about the book. But how Facebook, whenever you in front of your computer or whatever, and you have these thoughts and you say them out loud, like, immigrants.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Facebook, yeah, and Facebook throw it in front of you. It's like that. It's like my worry about procrastination was validated in reading this book, and you become more informed about why you feel that way. Like it gives you it was a therapy session without having to pay for a therapy session or sit in front of somebody that I don't know who don't understand me. It's because these are things that I've been actually going through and things that I've been actually feeling before. But now I have information to say from somebody who's well informed, who's well read, who has a lot of experience, who talks about in the book the things that they suffered from. And they talk to the devil about the things that they suffer from. And they ask questions centered around the things that they suffer from. And say, is this why this happened to me? Is this why I did this? Is this why I did that? And to get that affirmation from, and so for this person to be as vulnerable as they were, the author to be as vulnerable as he is about his pitfalls, and to ask those honest questions to the devil, and for the devil to affirm, yeah, that's why, and this is why. And he said, well, why now are you not affecting me? Like, why don't I see you this much in my life? It's because you did this, this, and this. And it's tougher for me. It's not impossible for me to get in there, but it's tougher for me to get into your mind because you do these things. So I feel more informed, and you feel like you are more equipped to deal with the things that may fly in from the outside, or you're more aware when those things fly in from the outside and you realize that this is the devil, so to speak. And so it's not a run away from it. It's how do I create better systems that prevent, or how do I become stronger? So it was inspired. Like it had a lot of effects on me as a book. Like it was inspiring. At the same time, it helped me to feel. At the same time, it was validating. At the same time, it gave me an awareness. At the same time, it empowers me to share that knowledge in this space. At the same time, empower me to be more vulnerable about my poor habits and my weaknesses. So it did a lot. It did a lot. And it's been a driver for me. Since I put it down, it was one of the drivers that made me pick up the next book that I picked up to reread it, because I wanted to build those. I wanted to eradicate my drifter ways, because I realized, man, I've been a drifter. I have been drifting for quite some time. And so how do I amend that? And the answer for me was start at the beginning. When you get up in the morning, what do you do? As you go out throughout your day, what do you do? What are you doing? What are you thinking? And it talks as much about your thoughts as it does your actions, because your thoughts become your actions. And so creating better thought processes will create better action systems. And so, yeah, that's where it left me, is working to develop myself personally in a lot of different areas. So I become a better asset to myself, if that makes any sense. And then I become a better asset to those in my circle around me. And I can fulfill or design the life that I want for myself. So I guess that's a very long-winded answer, but I was thinking about it as I was talking. So more things started to come out. But yeah, I think it's, if you have the time to consume it. It also made me think about what we gonna choose for the first edition of the bullshit book club. Because to be able to consume these types of texts and then have discussions about them is something that would very much so like to infuse into the community that we build. So yeah, man. Anything you've been reading or consuming you've been consuming either visually or audibly?
Nah, not really, man. I just been grinding, G. I just been grinding like a motherfucker, man. But I definitely appreciate that contribution from you, G. That shit definitely sounds something that's wildly captivating.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Can I do something for you, though?
Give me some headlines.
I'm going to give you some headlines, man.
Give me some headlines, G.
So we're going to slide into this section, man. First headline: reducing the waste of surplus food. I'm sorry, where does this story come from? This story comes from the Reader's Digest. The next story comes from the Wall Street Journal. Burned out? Maybe you should care less about your job. And then this next story comes from CNN Sports. Bubba Wallace becomes first black driver to win NASCAR Cup Series since 1963.
Run back through them for me.
I got you. Reader's Digest reports reducing the waste of surplus food. The next one from the Wall Street Journal: burned out? Maybe you should care less about your job. Third story from CNN Sports: Bubba Wallace becomes first black driver to win NASCAR Cup Series since 1963.
Let's hear that second, John. Burned out. Maybe you should care less about your job.
Bet that.
I think Americans want to hear what's going on with that.
Bet that. All right. So from the Wall Street Journal: are you burned out? Maybe you should care less about your job. When Jonathan Frostic realized he was having a heart attack in April, sitting at his desk on a Sunday prepping for the work week, he thought about his wife and his will. He also thought, I needed to meet with my manager tomorrow. This isn't convenient, prefacing the comment with an expletive. The 45-year-old financial services worker survived and changed his life. The non-negotiables on his calendar now are thrice weekly swims and dropping his youngest son off at nursery school. In his fewer hours on the job, he says he's calm, decisive, above the fray. When he has too much on his plate, he leaves the work for another day. He insists on 30-minute meetings that stay on point. I've been stressed once since this heart attack. It's like the switch now. It doesn't matter. But back then, I was my work, he says. We put in too many hours. We don't take vacation. We can't say no to that 6 a.m. conference call. Underneath it all is something bigger, an emotional attachment to our jobs that exhausts us and squeezes out the other parts of our identities. For years, we were told to find meaning and purpose at work, while other parts of modern life like church receded. Then came the pandemic. Sure, some employees leverage remote work to sneak in noon naps or shirk one job with the secret second gig. But for many, work has become our lives. We sat down at our computers in the spring of 2020 and haven't let up since. Now we can't figure out how to turn it off. Can we learn to care less, ideally without having a brush with death? What happens if we let go just a little? And so I will put that, so you can read more about that article. I will put that article in the show notes. But I'm glad you picked that one, man, because this is something that really plagued me for a long time, man, was just diving into work, trying to feel productive because you're doing something for somebody else, and it produces monetary gain for you so you can continue to survive. But this man right here was doing it to the point where it almost killed him. It literally almost killed him. And how do we get people to understand that these folks don't give a fuck about you? Because had he dropped dead, they'd have threw up a motherfucking job description the next day, and they'd have had somebody sitting in that damn chair, and he'd have been his wife, his preschool kid, his wife, all these things, like the future that he had gone without it, like gone without him. He don't get to enjoy none of that shit no more. And he killing himself over what? What exactly? So I'd like to hear your thoughts on essentially saying, man, fuck this shit, bruh. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do what needs to be done, but I'm not going to sacrifice my well-being to do this shit for y'all because it ain't worth it.
The most dangerous thing in the wrong hands is not any weapon that's ever been created. It's power. And because people use the money they get from work to survive, that gives people's employers, employment, managerial structure at work a certain level of power over their lives because they know that losing the job will create instability. And that contingent is what I feel like creates a lot of the stressors at work in general, because people deal with things they wouldn't deal with in any other facet of their lives, because this thing fuels the rest of their life. And because the most dangerous thing in the wrong hands is power, the higher up the food chain you get, the more unhealthiness exists in a work structure and the more normalized the behavior becomes. The simplest example I could use is talking down to someone. Peer to peer, that's never okay in a work environment.
Right.
But managers talk down to subordinates all the fucking time. It doesn't happen the other way. You get demerits, you get fired for shit like that when you talk down to your manager.
Right.
It's called disrespect, because in any human interaction, that shit is disrespect. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So these logical fallacies, these unhealthy mechanisms that do not exist anywhere else in life, you're not equipped or conditioned to deal with it. And then you get placed in this work environment, and most jobs are 8 hours a day and there are 24 hours in a day. So this is a third of your life. There is no other part of your life that you have to or get to be at consistently for a third of your day. And these different anxieties and stressors come in, and you add in the factor of working from home. It destroys the separation of church and state, even with all of the advantages, like the article pointed out, the afternoon naps, the potential side hustles that you're able to maintain from a work from home position. All these different positives come in. The need to no longer give a fuck about work, I don't believe is the employee's desire to have less of a concern over how good of a job he's doing or how effective he carries out processes. I think is no longer treating it like your life depends on it, so that you accept less things that detract from who you are, so that you create more health for yourself in that environment. It didn't say quit your job, do things that'll get you fired. It said give a fuck less. Because when you don't give a fuck, you don't take shit. You know what I'm saying? People who want nothing attract everything. You want to spend time with somebody? Make it clear you don't want a goddamn thing from them. They'll be beating your goddamn door down. Because people are constantly dealing with different situations where people are taking something from them.
Right.
One of the most basic things you'll experience in work is your shift starts at 8, ends at 5. They will tell you, make sure you're 30 minutes early and you'll be there after closing. In a work environment where you are paid per hour, you are literally selling your time. To ever require you to be there outside of compensated hours is theft. Period. I sell time for money. Whatever fucking task you ask me to do, I complete because you have paid for this time. You a goddamn fool if you convince yourself I need to be there at 7:30 to be selling you time at 8 o'clock. I may need to be there at 7:30 to be able to run a store for you at 8 o'clock, to be open and operational at 8 o'clock. But guess what you need to do as a business owner if you need employees there 30 minutes before opening? Pay them motherfuckers that from you goddamn right. That's exactly what the fuck you need to do. So that's what they mean by give a fuck less. Show up at 8 o'clock, and if they fire you for showing up when you start getting paid, sue their ass. That's what they telling you. What are your thoughts on my interpretation?
Nah, man. That is you spot on with that shit, bro. Because yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna need you to be in about 30 minutes early tomorrow. Okay, no problem. Go to McDonald's and tell them you gonna need a large fry even though you ordered a medium. Bitch, pay me for what you asking for. I sell time. I am an employee. Nice to meet you. Fuck out of here. That's how I feel about that shit. And I say that to a nigga face. I have never worked time I wasn't paid for. And don't plan on it unless I'm volunteering. I go to the gas station and that shit say 37 and then give me back 35. Be like, y'all a charity? He be like, what you mean? You owe me another 2 motherfucking cents. I ain't making a donation, nigga. I need all that. Fuck you talking about. Correct change, please. You want me at work, you gonna have to pay me for working, goddamn.
Square business, man. Yeah, it's yeah.
If it's in your job description to lift heavy shit and you come in at 7:30, they have you lifting heavy shit, don't they? Do you need to be paid as soon as you walk in the goddamn door, right, P?
Well, that shit, baby, yeah. I mean, ass TVs at Best.
Yeah, I took you back about 15 years. He was like, well, I remember back in the day when I was a young boy. My shoulder hurt right now thinking about that shit.
I hated that shit. Best Buy, boy. Best Buy have your ass stressed out. Putting 49-inch TVs in 2-door Porsches.
If you a security guard and a nigga need to get off early to go home cause their baby mama blah, blah, blah. When you show up, if they get robbed 30 minutes before your shift start, they not gonna be mad at you. You feel what I'm saying? Pay me when I show up, cause I'm responsible for whatever the fuck I'm here for the moment I step foot in the building.
Yeah.
Fuck that bullshit.
Yeah, man. Pay me. Pay P, man. Pay C.O.D.
I'll put it in another context for you guys real quick. You know why people break up? Because somebody gets sick of dealing with shit and start not giving a fuck. So when y'all argue and he knew he was right, but he let you win anyway, he don't give a fuck no more. So you wrong, you dead ass wrong, and you gonna sit on that. And if you fuck around and sit around pouting for 2 days and you wrong, he gonna let your ass pout until you get the fuck over it. and a numbness and a callus start to form. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My OG taught me something that I have failed to do several times, but I never fail at again. He said, nigga, don't ever start doing something that you ain't willing to keep doing. Because if you ever judge a woman for no longer being able to operate when you no longer do the things that made her fall in love with you, you got to look in the mirror on that shit. He said, whatever it is, nigga, don't ever. Even, he was like basic shit, nigga. He was like, bruh, daddy, if apologizing ain't something you see yourself being willing to do, nigga, don't never apologize for shit you do. And he started like giving me examples and being just direct about shit. And it's certain shit, bro, when I say on God, I have never done. And the amount of peace it bring me, because it connects to that shit my grandma told me. Baby, just tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you can forget what you say, because that shit the same every time. Bro, if you never do some shit you don't feel like doing, they could be mad the first time. They could be mad every time, but no. Every time she asks you about that shit, no. No. It'll never change. You keep trying. There's no amount of in love I could be that'll make that a part of who I am. You feel what I'm saying? Like the peace it bring you to be yourself, man. But it's certain shit I've compromised in trying to get to solving problems that I've gotten to the I don't give a fuck point, and I stopped doing it to solve problems, and nothing ever replaced that mechanism. And had I never started doing things that I weren't willing to keep doing to solve problems, something else would have had to fill that void, or we wouldn't have made it early and I wouldn't have wasted time. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So the principles he taught me are empirically fucking valuable. And every time I have failed at staying true to them, it cost me time, resources, and blessings turned into lessons. And negative things had to be the catalyst for me choosing health rather than making healthy choices from jump. You feel me? And I feel like to relate that back to the job environment, don't get in there and be doing all kind of shit that is outside of your job description and then start asking for a raise after you've been doing it for 6 months. Don't never do a goddamn thing that's outside your job description until they're willing to compensate you outside of what they pay you. That's that I don't give a fuck. Don't be sick of doing that shit for 6 months. Stop giving a fuck and then start lacking on the value that you've created for the company because you're less valuable and then trying to convince them to give you more money. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if they see that value in you, my grandpa Sam, my grand elders taught me a lot in that time with me, even though it was short. He said, son, in this life, you'll never get paid what you're worth. You'll only ever get paid what you're able to negotiate. It is your job to make sure you're able to negotiate what you're worth. So don't get the way you don't give a fuck, because I promise you, I've experienced it in a job scenario and countless times in personal relationships. Once you stop giving a fuck, you lose a lot of leverage. Because I wear my emotions on my sleeve. The truthfulness of being able to be transparent bring me peace and a lot of chaos, but mostly peace. And if I love you, you dripping in it. I'm talking about you sneeze and it come out before snot do when I love you. And when I don't give a fuck, ooh, you taste it in your eggs. You feel what I'm saying? You taste that shit in your eggs, goddamn. So, in your personal life and in your work environment, man, make sure you negotiating your worth when your value is the highest. And don't start doing anything that you aren't willing to keep doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lesson for your ass there.
Yeah, you ain't know I was gonna take it there.
Nah.
Yeah, nigga.
Helpful though. Helpful. Profound even.
College Park, nigga, what you know about?
Oh,
so much female clientele
man.
like a hoe house.
I got a cousin who is an avid Twitter personality. Like he be on the Twitter, and I don't think it's a healthy place for him because he be mad angry on that bitch. But
is this CA? Low temperature, lots of sports.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me more.
Yeah. And he has some he stands on one side of the fence, and that's his side. And he make his point. His points be heard, and they usually, and like this is like super fucking intelligent dude. So like, I'm not, but he's very, not even a butt. He believe what he say, and he not teetering on that shit ever. And he got a lot of takes on music and a lot of takes on sports. And he is not afraid to tell somebody who has a terrible take that they have a terrible take. But one of the things that I've seen him bring up quite often in the past several months, man, is no matter how you feel about this person, they have done a lot, and there's very few label heads that are better than them at running a label right now, especially over the past few years. And they need their flowers. And so in this edition of Gimme Some Second Line / Rep Your City, we are going to give Gotti his flowers for being the label head of CMG, and we gonna hold down the city of Memphis, Tennessee. So Gotti
Mafia
is the label head at CMG, which has changed to Collective Music Group, and not, it used to be Cocaine Music Group. But
Cocaine Music.
And one of
3 O's and 4 Z's.
Man.
2 U's.
A whole heap of them shits. Some of the things that he's done, Gotti, he is signed acts like Moneybagg Yo, 42 Doug, and ESTG. And he is a Memphis force of nature.
He got the boy Key Glock too, right?
Key Glock is on.
Yeah, don't leave out Glock.
Yeah. Well, I tried to pull up like the entire roster, but I wanted to go to like the current, but yeah, Key Glock is definitely on CMG, according to my notes. But they have
keep going though. My bad. I had to make sure he got it
inked a deal with Interscope. Not even a deal, a partnership with Interscope, and we know what that word means. Like when you enter into a partnership, that means it is mutually beneficial for both groups.
And you retain ownership over your creative and intellectual property.
Exactly. And for somebody to go from where it been a long time coming, a lot of dope running, hustling, trying to dodge the cases. It's your boy, yo. Streets been, trying to go back to the basics. Yeah, man. I heard that song. A white dude introduced me to that song over 15 years ago at this point. And riding a work truck in Southern Alabama going to fix an irrigation system. And so since then, I've been a consumer of the art, and for him to start a label and for him to have artists on his label that are producing #1 albums and getting partnerships or being valuable enough to garner a partnership from one of the most renowned labels in existence, means that he is not only an incredible artist, and like I said, regardless of how you feel about him on the outside, like the person, but he's an incredibly talented artist, and he must be an astute businessman, and he must have a keen eye for talent to sign the artists that he has, to develop them to where they are producing #1 albums in the genre. And
Interscope architect giants. They got like
Giants.
3 diamonds. They got 3 diamond projects on their resume. M50, Dre. And before he went to Interscope, I'm pretty sure he had a hand in that Outkast joint that went diamond. Them niggas be architect and legendary shit.
Yeah. And so they see and so it's great to see, like, not that Memphis has went anywhere, because they've been producing talent out the ass since been pimping, from the blues genre to the soul genre to the R&B genre. Now they really making a wave. Well, not even now, because it's been for the past 25, 30 years. They have been gigantes. Like, when you think about rap, Memphis shouldn't be far from your mind, because they are one of the, when you think about the South, you got Atlanta, you got Houston, you got Miami. Memphis is up there with those cities, if not.
They the 5th point on the star. Atlanta, Memphis, Houston, New Orleans, Miami. That's the culturally, they connect us to the Midwest. They would connect the South to Texas to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And shouts out to Arkansas. I'll talk shit about y'all football team, but I see Memphis was my connection to Arkansas, because it's right there. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, like, I see Arkansas as a part of Memphis and shit culturally. You feel what I'm saying? So they connect the South to the rest of the country to me. You feel what I'm saying? So I love to see them getting their moment in the sun, and it being the tip of the iceberg because of the partnership and where the growth is going. I love this. Give me some second line. Shouts out to Gotti. I've been rocking with him since Cocaine Music 3.
Cocaine Music 3. And so, man, like, shouts out to the artists that are on his label. Shouts out to his new partnership at Interscope. Shouts out to the city that he put on for. And even his enemies in the city, man, they respect him for who he is and what he's done. Because they know if they mention his name, like, it'll garner attention for them. So shout out to Gotti for all that he has done for his city, what he's giving back to his city, the art that he's producing and putting into the culture, man, and what he is going to do in inking this partnership with Interscope, man. I'm interested to see how things pan out, and how we benefit as consumers of the genre and consumers of the art form, what we about to get, man. So yeah, man, shout out to you, Gotti, man. Keep doing your motherfucking thing, G.
Yo, Gotti.
He pulled up on us in the all white Range Rover, all white Range Rover, in the all white with the platinum chain on and shit in traffic when we was it was All-Star Weekend 2013 here in Houston, man, and he came in and he had the whole entourage in all white vehicles. They was heading to a strip club that we was on the way to, and we realized, yeah, all these niggas heading there, we not getting in here for less than $100 at the door. They finna treat this shit like a concert. There's way too many stars in here for them to be charging their regular $10 it is to get in here. They up that price ungodly. We was like, let's find somewhere else where it's lily white girls that don't even know it's All-Star Weekend. Cause we not getting in none of these, not in Houston, not none of these black establishments. Man, it was hard getting into a strip club that night. All you want to do after the All-Star game was go find the strip club. Nope. it was gonna be a ticket, and Gotti was part of that. This cat's coming in there with duffel bags with racks, tens of racks, throwing it in there. They not letting no common dude in there who only trying to spend $40.
Yeah, you taking up space.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, you can keep that shit, Playboy. Go get you some Whataburger and take it home.
Yeah, we got you next weekend.
Yeah, man.
We done flew bitches in from everywhere for this.
Exactly.
But I ain't even gonna count. Their Houston script will be cold blooded, man. I got never mind. It's a cold lad, young. Yeah.
You're in love with somebody else.
Tell me so good, G.
That woman's gonna walk into a bear trap. Oh man,
time signatures.
In this edition of that's important. In this edition of Tell Me Something Good, man, we taking it out of the country. We're not even out of the country. We taking it to our brethren down in Haiti. Shout out to Carribrew. A Haitian coffee, tea, chocolate, and home goods company, man, who a young lady, and oh my gosh, I can't believe I closed out. I had her name. This will also be in the show notes, but this young lady grew up and
she fucking up, man.
Big time. Grew up drinking coffee from the island of Haiti, and her grandmother introduced it to her. And so she was wondering why it was so difficult for her when she moved to the States to get Haitian coffee and these Haitian goods in the United States. Like, she only got to get them when she went back home. And so she was like, you know what? I'm going to do something about that shit, man. I'm going to reestablish. At one point in history, Haiti was one of the biggest suppliers of coffee to the United States of America. And because of their fight for their own independence through political revolution, we as a country, our government cut off trade lines with the Haitian people and looked other places like Jamaica and other countries for that import. But Haiti has some of the best coffee, some of the best chocolate, some of the best tea in the world, because they have the climate to grow it, a really great climate for growing those crops. And so she has spent her energy and her time to cultivate reestablishing those trade lines between Haiti and the United States and the rest of the world, and bringing back that demand for these Haitian goods. And so it's Haitian coffee, which is a sacred tradition, with creating an economical impact with her home country and building that relationship with the goods and the earth, and reestablishing that commerce with Black people in this country, man. So something good is Carribrew, the Carribrew company, reaching out and reestablishing those lines of commerce with this country and doing it to produce impact and to give back to a country that has done and made incredible leaps and bounds over the course of history in freeing themselves from their oppressors, and their oppressors having to go through high hell to try to keep them suppressed, but y'all ain't gonna be able to do it. The Haitian people are just way too strong. So I will be supporting, we at GSH will be supporting the Carribrew family and making sure that their impact has a platform and their products have a place to go because we are avid tea drinkers and coffee consumers, but mostly tea drinkers. So the first thing that I'll be copping from them is some of their tea. And my lady loved chocolate, and she recently got a promotion, so I'll be copping some of that for her to consume as well, man. Yeah, bro. So yeah, what do you think about? You have any? I know we all have, or we may not even know, but we have these ties to like the Haitian people who have migrated or immigrated from from their home country to
Shout
this
out
country,
my
man.
Zoe, goddamn.
And it's a trip that I definitely want to make my damn self, man. Like, not just a trip. I want to spend a lot of time down there in Haiti, man, because of what they have done over the course of history and establishing themselves as, this our shit. We are independent of all that other shit y'all got going on.
It sounded like it was going to be a question, but yeah, and the baton. But my thoughts on it basically is just made me think about the different Haitians that I've had the blessing of knowing in my lifetime. And speaking back to Grandma Promise, man, the things I steal from them and making myself a better human being, man. The amount of strength in those human beings, man. I just have a great deal of admiration for the strength of character, the strength of fucking drive, loyalty. It's so much that I take from the different Haitians in my life, man. I appreciate them as a culture, as a people, and their pride in self as a people who have been through a great deal of shit, man. Like, I just have a great deal of appreciation for them, man. So they got my support and love in whatever they doing, from a fiscal or business standpoint down to supporting them and like the amount of hustle, bro. Like, I'm going to definitely be doing some Rep Your Cities about a few of them now that I think about it moving forward. We start to shout out more small businesses and things as we grow the platform and the audience, and we make sure it reach and touch a lot of people. But just love, man. I love coffee and shit. My relationship with coffee come from when I was growing up. My grandma would have a cup of coffee whenever she got home from work because she'd have more stuff to do and shit. And I make my grandma a cup of coffee every day. And she would have some Folgers in this little old can and shit. And I'd boil the water, all that shit, and make my grandma coffee. And I'd taste it to make sure it tasted right when I took it to her. You feel what I'm saying? So I was a kid. So that little sip sent me to the fucking moon. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. So my love for coffee was built at a very young age. And it was like, if you don't smoke weed, just hitting some really good reefer put you on the motherfucking moon. You be like, oh, this that. Ugh. So coffee was like this forbidden thing that I got to craft and cultivate and make for somebody I loved. So it always had this special connotation to me. So it, excuse me. So I have a great deal of appreciation for her growing up with this thing in her life and coming to the States and saying, nah, this, if I'm gonna be here, I gotta have this piece of home. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And speaking to the love and the drive, the love I have for the Haitian people in my life, that aspect of them, like their drive and their passion, like once that desire was created for this young woman, she was gonna have that shit. And in taking the best parts from the people I care about and the people I love, that not even speak it into existence, that live it into existence, because what is reality? It don't exist if I don't experience it. I want it, I'ma have it. The only thing in between me and having it is the life that I live to get to it. Like, I love that element of the story over anything. So you definitely told me something good, man. Blessings out to Haiti, blessings out to the Haitians, blessings out to the descendants of Haitian people who are growing their legacy and building in America. I love you. Just out to all my Zoes, just out to everybody down in Miami, everybody who done matriculated up, everybody out here goddamn in Georgia, goddamn kicking it in Decatur, fucking with your boy, man. I ain't gonna put your name out there on the interweb. But y'all know y'all fam and I fuck with you, man, on everything. No gang affiliation, it's just love and goddamn cashing out. I don't need a face card or street cred because I cash out when I pull up.
Swear, baby.
C.O.D, cash on delivery. Y'all know what the fuck it is.
Square Biddy, man. Yeah, that's my lady people. Her family is Haitian. Dad's family is Haitian. So yeah, that's how I dug up that to show her some love, man, and to shout her out a little bit. But yeah, this has been Tell Me Something Good, man, and this has been a Spike P joint, and like my dog C.O.D like to tell y'all, I'll let him tell y'all.
You already know what it is, man. We gonna satiate your hunger, you know what I'm saying? When you're hungry, need something to eat. Give you what you want, give you what you need. Always be polite, always say please, and remember that whether in your personal life or in business, it is always better to give than it is to receive. Fuck with me.